90 seconds. In that time, one wrong decision could end the world. Commander Lisa Parker's red phone was ringing, and on the other end was a general ready to launch nuclear weapons. The crisis began at 3:47 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on October 12, 2019, when a cascade of technical failures triggered the most dangerous nuclear alert in human history. Deep inside NORAD's Cheyenne Mountain complex, Commander Lisa Parker was completing her routine night shift as Senior Nuclear Command Officer when every alarm in the facility began screaming simultaneously. Lisa had spent 12 years working her way up through the military's most sensitive positions. Her background included degrees in nuclear physics from MIT and strategic studies from the Naval War College, combined with operational experience in nuclear command systems that few officers possessed. At 34 years old, she held one of the most critical positions in American national security. Which city in the world are you watching this video from today? The NORAD facility housed the most sophisticated early warning systems ever created, designed to detect incoming nuclear missiles within minutes of launch from anywhere on Earth. Multiple satellite networks, ground-based radar installations, and underwater sensor arrays provided overlapping coverage that made surprise attacks theoretically impossible. October had brought heightened international tensions as trade disputes between major powers escalated into diplomatic crises. Military exercises by various nations had increased suspicious activity, but intelligence assessments indicated no immediate threats to American security interests or global stability. Lisa's duties included monitoring threat assessment displays, coordinating with international allies, and maintaining communication links with key decision-makers who would respond to any confirmed nuclear attack. Her training emphasized calm analysis under pressure and strict adherence to verification protocols designed to prevent false alarms. The night shift typically involved routine monitoring of global military activities, periodic communication checks with allied command centers, and review of intelligence reports from various sources. Most nights passed without significant incidents requiring elevated alert status or consultation with senior officials. The technical malfunction that triggered the crisis originated in a software update to the early warning system's threat assessment algorithms. The update, designed to improve detection accuracy and reduce false positives, contained a coding error that caused the system to misinterpret routine satellite maintenance signals as incoming ballistic missile signatures. At 3:47 a.m., multiple warning displays simultaneously showed what appeared to be a coordinated nuclear strike involving over 200 incoming warheads from 3 different countries. The attack profile suggested a first strike scenario designed to eliminate American retaliatory capabilities through simultaneous targeting of military installations and command centers. The automated response protocols activated immediately, triggering communications to the Pentagon, White House, and Strategic Command headquarters. Within 60 seconds, senior military officials and political leaders were being awakened and briefed on what appeared to be an imminent nuclear attack, requiring immediate retaliation decisions. Lisa's initial reaction followed standard procedures as she began verification protocols designed to confirm or deny the apparent threat. However, her experience with the early warning systems made her immediately suspicious of several anomalies in the attack profile that didn't match known enemy capabilities or strategic doctrine. The missile trajectories displayed on her screens showed approach patterns that violated the laws of physics for ballistic weapons. The supposed launch points were located in areas where intelligence reports indicated no nuclear facilities existed. Most importantly, the timing of the attack made no strategic sense given current international situations. Despite her growing certainty that the warnings represented a technical malfunction rather than an actual attack, Lisa faced enormous pressure to follow established protocols that assumed all warnings were genuine until proven otherwise. The consequences of ignoring a real attack would be catastrophic, but authorizing retaliation based on false information could trigger World War III. The red phone on Lisa's desk connected her directly to General Harrison Matthews, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, who had been awakened by the crisis alert and was demanding immediate threat confirmation. General Matthews had built his career on decisive action and had little patience for uncertainty when national survival appeared to be at stake. General Matthews' voice carried the tension of someone facing the ultimate military decision as he demanded Lisa's assessment of the threat situation. The automated systems were recommending immediate nuclear retaliation against the apparent attackers, and political leaders were being briefed on response options that included full-scale nuclear war. Lisa's analysis of the warning data had identified multiple inconsistencies that strongly suggested system malfunction rather than genuine attack. However, expressing doubt about the warnings would require her to stake her career and potentially millions of lives on her interpretation of technical data that others might view differently. The pressure to confirm the threat came from multiple sources as senior officials throughout the government and military establishment demanded verification of the attack. Standard operating procedures emphasized the assumption that warnings were accurate unless definitively proven false, creating institutional momentum toward retaliation. Communication with international partners revealed similar technical anomalies in their early warning systems, suggesting a coordinated malfunction rather than an actual coordinated attack. However, the coincidence of simultaneous failures in multiple systems made some officials suspect sophisticated cyber warfare rather than accidental technical problems. Lisa's technical analysis revealed that the missile signatures matched the characteristics of satellite maintenance operations that occurred regularly without triggering false alarms. The coding error in the recent software update had apparently caused the system to categorize these routine signals as ballistic missile launches. The verification process required Lisa to coordinate with multiple technical specialists and intelligence analysts while maintaining communication with senior officials who were making real-time decisions about nuclear retaliation. The pressure to provide immediate answers conflicted with the careful analysis needed to distinguish between genuine threats and technical malfunctions. 30 seconds into the crisis, Lisa had identified the source of the false warnings, but faced the challenge of convincing senior officials to trust her assessment over the automated systems they had relied on for decades. Her analysis indicated zero probability of actual attack, but the consequences of being wrong made others reluctant to accept her conclusions. General Matthews expressed skepticism about Lisa's assessment, pointing out that sophisticated enemies might be capable of creating exactly the kind of anomalies she was identifying as evidence of system malfunction. The possibility that apparent technical problems were actually indicators of advanced attack methods complicated the decision-making process. The communication with Allied command centers revealed that their systems were showing similar warnings with identical anomalies, supporting Lisa's conclusion that the alerts represented coordinated technical malfunctions rather than actual attacks. However, the unprecedented nature of the situation made some officials suspect new forms of warfare designed to create exactly this kind of confusion. 45 seconds into the crisis, Lisa received additional technical data that definitively proved the warnings were false. Satellite telemetry showed no missile launches from any of the supposed attack locations, and radar installations reported normal conditions with no incoming threats detected through independent monitoring systems. The challenge shifted from threat assessment to preventing nuclear retaliation based on false information. Political and military leaders who had been awakened with reports of imminent attack were now being asked to trust technical analysis over automated warning systems that had never before produced such comprehensive false alerts. Lisa's communication with General Matthews became increasingly urgent as she provided detailed, technical explanations for why the warnings were false, while he faced pressure from other officials to authorize immediate retaliation. The general's training emphasized decisive action, but Lisa's analysis suggested that action would trigger the very catastrophe they were trying to prevent. The international implications of the crisis became apparent as allied nations reported similar warning system malfunctions and began questioning whether they were experiencing coordinated cyber attacks or technical failures. The possibility that enemies had found ways to compromise early warning systems raised concerns about vulnerabilities that extended beyond the immediate crisis. 60 seconds into the crisis, Lisa had assembled comprehensive evidence proving the warnings were false, but convincing senior officials to act on her assessment required overcoming institutional momentum toward retaliation and personal concerns about the consequences of trusting technical analysis over established procedures. General Matthews faced an impossible decision as he weighed Lisa's technical assessment against the automated recommendations for immediate nuclear response. His experience emphasized the importance of decisive action when facing existential threats, but Lisa's analysis suggested that such action would create rather than prevent catastrophe. The pressure from other senior officials intensified as they demanded immediate action based on the warning system alerts. Several key figures expressed skepticism about Lisa's assessment and argued for following established protocols that emphasized response over analysis when facing potential nuclear attack. Lisa's final presentation to General Matthews included satellite imagery, radar data, and technical analysis that definitively proved no attack was occurring. Her evidence showed that the warning systems had misinterpreted routine maintenance activities as missile launches due to the software update error. The decision point arrived at exactly 75 seconds into the crisis, when General Matthews had to choose between authorizing nuclear retaliation based on automated warnings or accepting Lisa's assessment that the threats were false. The consequences of either choice could determine whether civilization survived the next hour. General Matthews' acceptance of Lisa's analysis required him to stake his career and potentially the survival of the nation on one officer's technical assessment against the recommendations of multiple automated systems. His decision to stand down nuclear forces represented one of the most important choices in human history. The stand-down order was transmitted to nuclear forces worldwide within 85 seconds of the initial alert, preventing the launch of retaliatory strikes that would have triggered full-scale nuclear war. Lisa's technical analysis had been correct, and her ability to convince senior officials to trust her assessment had prevented global catastrophe. The aftermath of the crisis revealed the extent to which technical failures had brought the world within minutes of nuclear war. Investigation of the software error that triggered the false warnings led to comprehensive reviews of early warning systems and verification procedures designed to prevent similar incidents. Lisa's performance during the crisis earned recognition as one of the most important individual contributions to global security in modern history. Her technical expertise, analytical skills, and ability to communicate complex information under extreme pressure had literally saved the world from nuclear destruction. The software error that caused the crisis was corrected within hours, but the incident prompted fundamental changes in how early warning systems operated and how technical anomalies were evaluated. Multiple verification requirements and human oversight protocols were implemented to prevent automated systems from triggering nuclear responses without human confirmation. International cooperation in nuclear security was strengthened as a result of the crisis, with all major powers recognizing that technical failures in early warning systems posed threats to global survival that required coordinated prevention efforts. The incident demonstrated that modern technology, while essential for security, also created new vulnerabilities that needed careful management. Lisa's technical analysis methods became the foundation for improved threat assessment procedures that emphasized human expertise alongside automated systems. Her approach to identifying and communicating technical anomalies under pressure became required training for all personnel responsible for nuclear command and control systems. The personal cost of Lisa's service became apparent in the days following the crisis as she dealt with the psychological impact of having held global survival in her hands for 90 seconds. The knowledge that one wrong decision could have ended civilization created lasting stress that required professional counseling to manage. General Matthews' willingness to accept Lisa's assessment over automated system recommendations demonstrated the importance of military leadership that could balance institutional procedures with individual expertise. When facing unprecedented situations, his decision-making process became a case study in crisis leadership. Under ultimate pressure, the investigation of the software error revealed systemic weaknesses in how critical security systems were updated and tested. New protocols were implemented requiring extensive simulation and verification before any changes were made to early warning systems, with particular attention to preventing the kind of coding errors that had triggered the crisis. Years later, the incident remained classified at the highest levels of government, known only to a small circle of officials who understood how close the world had come to nuclear war. Lisa's role in preventing catastrophe was recognized through internal awards and career advancement, but the public never learned how one person's technical expertise had saved civilization. The early warning system modifications implemented after the crisis eliminated the possibility of similar technical failures, triggering false nuclear alerts. However, the incident highlighted the continuing importance of human judgment in managing weapons systems capable of ending human civilization. Lisa's career continued in nuclear security roles, where her experience during the crisis provided unique insights into the challenges of managing early warning systems and preventing accidental war. Her expertise became essential for training future generations of personnel responsible for nuclear command and control. The software developer whose coding error had triggered the crisis experienced severe psychological trauma upon learning that his mistake had nearly caused World War III. He left the technology industry and became an advocate for improved safety protocols in critical systems development. International relations were paradoxically improved by the crisis as world leaders recognized their shared vulnerability to technical failures in nuclear systems. New communication protocols and cooperative verification procedures were established to prevent misunderstandings that could escalate into nuclear conflict. The 90 seconds that Lisa Parker spent analyzing threat data and convincing senior officials to trust her assessment represented one of the most important brief periods in human history. Her technical expertise, analytical skills, and communication abilities under extreme pressure had prevented the end of civilization. Military historians later recognized October 12, 2019, as the closest the world had come to accidental nuclear war since the Cuban Missile Crisis. Unlike previous incidents that involved political brinkmanship, this crisis was purely technical, demonstrating new types of threats that required different approaches to prevention. The lesson learned from Lisa's experience was that modern security required both sophisticated technology and highly trained human experts capable of making correct decisions when automated systems failed. Her 90 seconds of analysis had proven that individual expertise remained essential even in an age of advanced artificial intelligence. Commander Lisa Parker had demonstrated that preventing war sometimes required the courage to question established systems and trust personal analysis over institutional momentum. Her willingness to stake everything on her technical assessment had literally saved the world from nuclear destruction. The red phone that had connected Lisa to General Matthews during the crisis was preserved as a symbol of how individual decisions could determine global survival. Her 90 seconds of expert analysis under ultimate pressure had prevented World War III and preserved human civilization for future generations. In those crucial moments when automated systems failed and political leaders faced impossible choices, one person's technical expertise and analytical courage had made the difference between peace and global catastrophe. Lisa Parker had proven that even in an age of advanced technology, human judgment remained the ultimate safeguard against accidental destruction.